This is episode 27, and welcome to 2019. I'm Brian.
I'm Stephanie.
Please follow us on Instagram at Orlando Out of Context and visit us at orlandooutofcontext.com and listen and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play.
So you put the wrong date up there. It says 2018.
Oops, I didn't switch it to 19 because I copied the show
new
notes.
Year. New
yes,
year,
we're reading the show notes, and
new
podcast. And I didn't change the year from 18 to 19. But yes, we're in 19. We apologize for not coming to you earlier. We promised in episode 26 that we would have one more episode before the new year, but that didn't happen.
Then I started dying of bronchitis, so we had to put a little hold on recording.
Stephanie got sick, and we just had to take a little bit of a 2-week
hiatus.
Break.
But
okay.
We're back now, and we're here to report on our New Year's Eve festivities and some other stuff that we've been up to since Christmas, New Year's, last few weeks.
Yeah, so let me tease the episode a little bit.
You tease it.
I'll tease it. So I went to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. So I have a report about that. Just a brief, quick recap in my thoughts. Talk a little bit about what I did New Year's Eve. Talk about Foxtail coffee. And talk about the Pulse Memorial, which is it's an interim memorial, which to me that means it's not the permanent final memorial. It's just the kind of in between. I visited that within the last week, and I hadn't been there for probably over a year plus, and so I hadn't seen it. So I have a report on that. Then we have a report. I don't know if many of our listeners know about Gods and Monsters, but it's a comic book store. And we'll get into a little bit more in depth on it in this episode and talk a little bit about it. But I went to their new location, and they have a post-apocalyptic, I hate saying that word,
apocalyptic
themed beer bar, which is pretty cool. So we'll talk about that.
What does that mean? After zombies come?
Yeah, like after the world ends, like.
We got to take Dev there?
I mean, it's not just zombies, post-apocalyptic. It's like if, there's some kind of explosion or there's some kind of like meteor hits Earth. It's like life after that happens to the Earth, or life after zombies, or a life living with zombies, which is what like The Walking Dead is, a post-apocalyptic themed series. All right, then we'll talk about the Cocoa Brothers, which is chocolate that I discovered this past weekend at the Lake Eola Farmers Market, and Stephanie just had some.
It was delicious.
And so we'll talk about that. Then we're going to give you an update on the team over at Van Cam, which we did an episode with them on episode 8. We're going to do an update. We have a new little mini interview that we have to present to you. And that's it for this episode. So buckle up, and we're going to have some fun.
Yay!
So Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. My boyfriend and I went to that on the 21st, which was the last one of the parties. And I thought...
I feel like probably you had a different experience because I went in like November.
Was it hot when you went?
It was hot AF. Dripping sweat. It was
so
hot.
We wore our hoodies. So we were not burning up. It was nice kind of... For us, it's the fall weather. It's not winter weather. It's fall weather. But we got there right at 4, and just a little bit after 4. But you know what the longest line was the whole night?
For the cookies?
No. We parked at... No, we didn't park. We Ubered. I decided that let's just skip the parking and let's just Uber. So the plan was Uber to the Grand, get on the monorail there, then walk to the Contemporary, or take the monorail to the Contemporary, get an Uber from there home. So that's what we did. The longest line was the line at the Grand Floridian to get on the monorail. It was like a good 30-minute wait.
Why didn't you go to have them drop you off at the TTC?
I would have done that next time.
Because it's not as far as far as paying for the Uber. The Uber has to take you further to go to the Grand.
But I was just thinking, okay, what's the next, like on the resort line? It would be the next stop, and Grand Floridian, which would get you there the quickest.
True.
But
and you can stop to see like the stuff in the lobby.
yeah, which
really
we kind of did, but really our focus was we got to get in this line because it's starting to wrap around the lobby up on the second floor of the lobby.
Oh my god,
it was crazy. I was like, oh geez,
but that's why it's hard there because that's the last stop on the resort monorail. So the monorail is nearly full by the time it gets there anyway. So it only has room to pick up a few people.
Honestly, that really wasn't the problem. I was afraid of that too, but there was a good amount of people getting off at the Grand. So it was a good turnaround. And the line was pretty long, but we only waited about 20 to 30 minutes. So it wasn't the end of the world. We still got there into the park about 4:45, I would say. And I was really impressed that I didn't feel like it was overcrowded. So
I think they do a good job at the parties at keeping the attendance to a minimum because they've extended the dates that allows them to keep the attendance down.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so instead of selling more tickets, they just have expanded to more dates.
Because, like in our previous episode, I think that we did with Ron, and maybe I even talked a little bit about, no, I think it was just on Ron's episode. I was just kind of like, oh, it was really expensive. But now after doing it, and doing it so recently, I will have to say that I think it's worth the money.
I think if you don't have a pass and you want to spend a day at the Magic Kingdom, this is the best way to do it.
It's worth the money. We did almost every attraction. We did not do Mine Train. We could have done it if we would have just wanted to wait that long after park close, but even at like 11:45, Mine Train was still like an hour wait.
Yeah.
So we just at that point we had done enough, but we did pretty much everything except for Mine Train and maybe Peter Pan. It was a successful because he had never done Magic Kingdom before, so we did everything. We saw the parade, we saw the fireworks, and we saw the fireworks right on Main Street. It wasn't like there wasn't like people on top of each other.
Yeah.
I was just expecting, because it was the last night of the Christmas party, they would just jam-packed. But Disney, I have to say, kudos to them. They don't overfill it. I think it's worth every penny, and especially if you haven't been in a while.
Yeah, and for the parties, they have all the extra characters and the snacks and the beautiful decorations. They put a lot of detail into
something
it.
that we haven't mentioned before, even though we've talked about all these parties, is my favorite party was Pirates and Princess Party.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember Pirates and Princess?
That was really cool. I went one time.
So Pirates and Princess was the same format, basically, as the Halloween and Christmas party, except it took place like in the springtime, and it was Pirates and Princess themed. It's kind of reminiscent of...
The fireworks were awesome.
The fireworks were the best fireworks that had ever been shot off.
The parade was
at
awesome.
Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it was great. I don't know why they did away with it.
I don't know.
It only ran, I think, for 1 year.
I think, 1 year. Maybe into a second year, but...
Maybe it just wasn't popular. But
I thought it was great.
I thought it was cool. I really liked it a lot.
But yeah, if you don't know about it, go Google it and kind of do some research if you're
even working there at the time I was working. And that was like, we were so excited because I don't know if you remember the costumes that we wore for the party. You had a choice. So there were like 3 different color skirts, 3 different color vests, and you could mix and match. So it was like, oh my God, I can like,
you get to choose your
I
costume.
get to choose the color of clothes that I wear.
That's cool.
And we were so excited about that because, when you work at Disney, you have to be like, everything is the same. Everything is boring. No nail polish. Your hair has to be a natural color. Like, your makeup can't be crazy. Your earrings can't be bigger than a dime. Like, all these things that make you feel like a zombie. And then we were all like, oh, my God, we get to choose a color.
The party was awesome, especially the fireworks. The fireworks were the best fireworks show at the Magic Kingdom. All right, so New Year's Eve, my New Year's Eve report, because you kind of made it to bed kind of early that night,
yeah,
right?
I was ill. I went out to eat. I had a granny dinner with Ron and Corey, and then I went to bed.
You were like in the depths of your sickness at that point, I think, right?
Well, it was getting there. It wasn't the depths, but I thought at the time I was just trying to I thought I had a cold. So, I was just trying to hit the vitamin C,
right? Hit
the water.
It wasn't enough.
Hit the bed. And it wasn't enough. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse till I finally figured out what was going on.
Now she has a sexy voice.
Yeah. Even now, right? I still feel like my voice sounds like shit. I've been sick for since Christmas Day. It's been a long time.
I haven't seen you really, I don't think since...
I haven't seen you since Christmas
Day.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on. I finished all my antibiotics and I still feel kind of shitty. I mean, not shitty, but I still feel like garbagey inside. But
Well, you might have to take a second trip to the doctor.
I don't want to.
Anyway, so New Year's Eve, we decided to keep it kind of low-key. So we went to the Wave at the Contemporary because I would say about 4 weeks from New Year's Eve is when we kind of decided this is what we're going to do. Maybe 3 weeks. And so I just kept refreshing on the app to get a reservation at one of the Magic Kingdom Resort area so we could see the Magic Kingdom fireworks. So we got the Wave. The only traffic I experienced that night was getting there. We left about like an hour and a half before our 8:30 reservation, and there was traffic. You know where you go under the waterway, and then you come up and you see the Contemporary right there. Right underneath there in the Magic Kingdom area is where there was just backed up traffic. Yeah. And there was just this long line trying to get into the Contemporary, and I screenshot my reservation. I knew they were going to ask for it. I screenshot the reservation, had my ID ready, and we got in.
You had all guns blazing.
Oh yeah.
Did you have your Magic Band too? Because you know they can, like,
can they access your reservation through the Magic Band?
Yeah, that little handheld thing they have. They can scan your Magic Band and it will tell them. I mean, I've seen them do it for cars in front of me.
Gotcha.
So I assume that's what they're doing.
Gotcha. No, I just had to screenshot just so that because the app is sometimes slow. Yeah. So I just screenshot the res. So
that's a good idea because that app is a piece of shit.
And a little a sneaky tip: he didn't even like hardly look at my reservation. So.
Well, that we need to edit that out. That is a pro tip. That a tip is only for us.
So anyway,
especially on the holidays, because you know they got on the holidays. That's when the security is tight there.
Well, I would use air quotes for tight.
Because I've been before where they won't let me in.
Right. Anyway, so we parked just fine. There were still spots left. But you know what? I'm glad we got there when we did because I think we would have been forced to valet if we had come maybe 10 minutes later.
That's BS.
So, well, I mean, if there was no parking spots. But, so anyway, we had dinner at the Wave. An okay experience. My experience of the Wave is never that great, except for at the bar. They have a good bar staff, but it was the best that I could do in terms of short term, trying to get a res. And then after dinner, we just kind of hung out. We watched the fireworks. I would have to say I've never watched the fireworks from the Contemporary before, but I like it better than the Polynesian. You
know what I've done before that is kind of a pro tip? So the main building of the Contemporary, if you go to the end of the hallway.
Yes, I've done it before.
And you just stand. So you can go out. And I don't know if it's like an exit stairwell for an emergency. Not emergencies, but just.
It's just a stairwell.
A stairwell. Or you can go out there to smoke.
Because you can't build a building without a stairwell.
But, it's not something that people use is what I'm saying. And so you could basically go to one of the top floors and you could just be the only people standing there on the little balcony. Yes. And it's but you have to be on the side of the building facing Magic Kingdom, obviously.
Correct.
But it's a nice little spot. It's a little hideaway where you can be
It's a good spot too quiet. If you're, on a not busy night. Because I'm sure on this night there was tons of people there.
Yeah.
And there's a bigger balcony where the gift shops are at the Contemporary. There's a bigger balcony right on that level, which is
that might be the smoking area.
Yeah.
The designated smoking area. But the little ones are better.
Yeah, I got you. I know which are the little ones. And you'll see if you go to that larger one and you look up, you'll see where the smaller ones are and you just get up there. But yeah, it's a good pro tip. Though I'm sure that, the Contemporary, that Disney doesn't want you doing that if you're not a Disney guest. But,
probably not. But
who cares? We are annual pass holders and shareholders.
That's right. And the amount of work I worked there, they still owe me money. Seriously, for the work that I did,
we need back
for
pay.
The literal pennies that they paid me. And, the heart and soul and sweat and tears I put into that company.
We need back pay.
I love that company and I would do anything for them. So they owe me everything. I feel like that place is my home.
That's
like
right.
Sometimes when I'm talking about it, I'll be like, we. And people will be like, what do you mean we?
Oh, I still say we.
And I'll be like, I just feel like I feel like I personally have invested into the success of all successes of the Walt Disney Company. So, I feel like it's my playground to do what I want.
Have you ever been up to the top of the Wilderness Lodge?
No. No.
They have this place where there's this flag, and they even do take guests up there for a special like flag retreat type ceremony sometimes.
No, I never been.
Anyway.
How do you get up there?
I went up there because I did itinerary planning for Walt Disney World Club Concierge. And so at one point we were taking on new resorts, and we got tours of all of the deluxe resorts. And so that was part of the tour. They took us up. It was cool.
The only special thing I've done is watch the fireworks from the top of the ice cream corner.
Yes, I've done that. That's cool. That's really cool.
When I was having my training, our trainer took us up there on the roof to watch the fireworks.
Yes, that's really cool.
And that was pretty special.
So recently, Foxtail Coffee, which is an Orlando-born coffee company.
It's kind of growing ferociously this year.
Growing like crazy in 2018. It grew. And I think it's going to continue probably to grow in 2019 even more. But they have, and this is really unique, I think, over at the Vineland Outlets, which is, of course, South Orlando, they have partnered with Tommy Hilfiger.
This is the strangest
So
relationship.
strange. They have partnered with Tommy Hilfiger, and Foxtail now has, I would say, it's like I don't know if you've seen it yet.
No, I haven't.
But it's pretty much a full-size cafe within the Tommy Hilfiger. It's really cool.
So are there seats in there, or is it just a walk-up counter?
Nope. There's a counter. There's a counter just like you, if you're familiar with the one in Winter Park. There's a counter. They have, craft coffee in there. It's very hipster, similar to Winter Park. And they have tables and chairs, and it's really cool. It's substantial in size, and it's inside Tommy. And so I've been there, I think, twice now. And one of the times that I went, I talked to the barista, and she was saying, I guess, the GM of that Tommy location or something loves Foxtail. And so I guess that excuse me, that was my phone.
I'm going to yell at you for that, because if I would have left my phone on, you would have bitched me out.
That he somehow talked to Foxtail and worked really hard to get this partnership going. But anyway, I think it's great to have here in South.
So what
South
makes
Orlando.
Foxtail stand out above Starbucks and all these other places?
Well, it's more craft.
I'm not a coffee person, so
the taste is better, in my opinion. But you get more specialty coffees. It's it's better.
Okay.
The taste.
I have to trust you on that one.
The taste.
I don't think I've ever even had one sip of coffee in my whole life.
Yeah, I don't think you'd like it.
I don't like coffee. I like the way it smells, but I just don't really want to taste it.
But Foxtail, very good. What cold brew that I had? I had this cold brew that had like peppermint in it, and it was like it just tasted like the coffee was infused with peppermint. It wasn't like I put like a sweetener in it. It was like infused with peppermint,
and the beans.
It wasn't too strong. It was just the right peppermint flavoring, and it was very good. So then I wanted to talk about the next on the list is the Pulse Interim Memorial, and I know we've talked.
As interim goes, I feel like it's been kind of a rolling project. Like every time I kind of pass by or go there for one reason or another, it seems as if it's changed. Like they put up a different mural, or they put up right. different, the things that people leave behind and the things that they write. And they were once doing this thing where people were writing on rocks and leaving the rocks in like a little garden. So I feel like ever since, it's closed, that it's been kind of evolving.
Well, now it's evolved to a place where it really seems much more permanent, I would say. They have this kind of curved wall that goes throughout the memorial and swings on all sides of, goes around the whole building that faces the
Are they going to knock the building down or build?
I don't really know, and I haven't done that research. But the last time that I went, the wall was more like a chain link fence, and they had like maybe plastic signage on it. And people had adhered things to it, and it was much more of like a temporary thing. Now it's actually like a wood wall that they've constructed. They have these great pictures just kind of showcasing the community's support. The sign looks really good. The Pulse sign looks great. Just the whole.
That's the original sign, isn't it?
I think it's the original, and if it's not, then it looks just like the original. And they have benches, and they have like a grass area. They've done a really nice job, and now they even have a little booth that they sell merchandise out of that benefits the One Pulse Foundation. So
somebody works there?
Yeah, there was an attendant there working there.
Oh, wow.
So they also had like a selfie booth type thing where I'm guessing you could make donations and take a picture. And I didn't really look at that. We just walked the wall and then headed out. But if you haven't been by the Pulse Memorial lately or at all, I encourage you to go check it out. They've done a nice job with the memorial. And because it says interim, I'm guessing that they're going to do something even more than what they've done so far, whether that be a museum or whatnot. So this episode is mostly about all the things I did.
As
because
usual.
Stephanie's
As
been
per usual.
Not per usual.
Because I'm always at work or sick.
But Stephanie's been sick, so this is all the stuff that I've been doing. So I was out and about this past weekend, and we were over on International Drive and just kind of checking things out. And Gods and Monsters has a new location. They were previously at the Artigan shopping mall. Mm-hmm. And you've been there you had been there to Gods and Monsters.
I don't know if I went in there or not. Maybe.
I swear we were.
I guess probably we did if we went there.
Well,
to the mall.
I'm not a huge comic book fan, but I'm a nerd. I like Star Wars and stuff like that. So
he's a closet nerd.
Yeah, I'm a closet nerd. But I love Star Wars. And I can appreciate the nerdiness. Gods and Monsters, what I would have to say is the best comic book store I had ever been to. And it was there at Artigan, and it was huge. It was a huge space. The different areas where people could come together and like play the role-playing games.
Role-playing?
Like, like the Dungeons and Dragons.
Nobody told me about that.
Dungeons and
been
Dragons
there.
and all that, all the nerd stuff.
The nerds.
But unfortunately, they had to move out because Artigan, as we know, and we've talked about on this episode, was sold and now is owned by the whatever who they're trying to turn it into that auto museum. Yeah, good luck.
So where on International Drive is it located?
So it's in the area that I call Little Brazil, where all the, it's across from where the Brazilian bakery is, across from where the Brazilian...
By the boot barn?
Across from the boot barn.
That big statue of that soccer player.
Across from there, where the Banco do Brazil is, the Brazilian bank. There's a shopping center there. It's in there.
So not far from where they were at the Artigan.
No, it's not far from Artigan at all. And they've done a nice job. It's considerably smaller. It's much smaller, but it's very well put together.
So do they still have the space to play the board games?
Well, they have some tables and chairs outside of the venue because basically when you walk into the area they are, it's like kind of like a courtyard, and it's an enclosed courtyard, and then there's other businesses that share that courtyard, and they have some tables and chairs in that courtyard. And then you go into the shop. As I said, it's considerably smaller. And then as you go all the way to the back, in the very back, they have a venue called Vault 5421, which is the address on International Drive. So this is a post-apocalyptic, I said it right, themed beer bar. Very cool. It's dark.
That's kind of cool. It kind of takes it to another level. I mean, serving alcohol is kind of a whole nother business in itself.
Well, I think serving beer and serving like liquor is probably a little bit different. I don't know what the laws are, but it seems like it's just beer. But very cool, very nicely themed. Just like Gods and Monsters was at the original location, the theming was really great. There was a lot of attention to detail everywhere. Same with the smaller shop, but even more so with Vault 5421 or 5421 or however you want to say it.
I bet they're bummed. I bet I bet the rent at the Artagon space was pretty cheap.
It was probably cheap. Well, where they are now.
For the amount of space that they had.
Oh, the amount of space. It was freaking huge. Yeah. And I think I'm happy that they stayed in this area. I think it's nice that they, stayed in this area. And honestly, the other businesses in that complex, wah wah.
Wah wah. Which is why the Artagon was wah wah.
I would say, and I'm talking about their new location, like the other businesses around them. I would say that they should just, if they can, eat up the other businesses and expand. Take over their leases and expand. Like if I was, that could be such a destination shopping center. If as Gods and Monsters grew, and if they really had the space to do what needed to be done, that shopping center could really benefit from it. Yeah. And if I was the owner of that shopping center, I would be saying to Gods and Monsters, let's work out a deal. Let's, as soon as my leases for these other people. Because
then you could essentially, you already have beer, so you could hold tournaments, you could hold events when we have the conventions come into town, like all these nerdy conventions.
Exactly.
You could hold like themed events and get a lot of people coming in.
I hope that Gods and Monsters continues and thrives. And there was definitely not a lot of people when I was there, but you could tell that they have a good amount of traffic coming in and out. And I hope that that's the case. I hope I'm assuming correctly, but we weren't the only ones there. That's for sure. So this weekend, I went to I don't know what its official name, Orlando Farmers Market, or if it's the Lake Eola Farmers Market. I don't know if it's Orlando or Lake Eola or what they classify it as. But anyway, went to Lake Eola Park for their farmers market and ran into this booth that I had never seen before. And Stephanie, I don't think you have ever
looking
seen.
At the packaging on the chocolate, I never
Stephanie wasn't with me, but she tried the chocolate tonight, and this chocolate is from Cocoa Brothers.
It was good.
And it's good.
For being dairy-free, nut-free, soy-free, food-free, all the things free. Like everything, like all the things that people don't want to eat anymore for whatever reason. It tasted very good. So when you taste it, it's like, initially it's not that great. Like initially it feels dry and hard.
It's kind of gritty.
It's gritty, and then the more you chew it and it kind of emulsifies in your mouth, it tastes very, very good. I liked it a lot.
So the recipe supposedly dates back 400 years, or it's 400 years old. And this recipe first appeared in Modisa, Italy. Hopefully we're pronouncing that right. But the recipe, of course, has been adjusted so that it is more sustainable and healthy. But
it says made with only 2 ingredients, organic cocoa and sugar.
This chocolate is so good. So good. I could just eat, 3 bars in one sitting.
It was very good.
It's so good. Okay, so where to find Cocoa Brothers? You can find them at the Winter Garden Farmers Market every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then they're calling it the Orlando's Farmers Market, which is in Lake Eola Park every Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then check their website, cocobrothers.co. That's not .com, it's .co.
What's .co?
Just a shortened version of com. They have a list of stores in the Orlando area.
Oh, they have some at the Orlando airport.
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
So check. This is not the full store, but this is the stores that carry their chocolate in the area. They don't have their own store. Yes. But definitely check them out. Seek them out. You can order online as well. Very good. Highly recommend it. This is probably one of the best chocolate bars I've ever tasted. And the expiration date on the chocolate bar I bought was November 2019. So it's basically the chocolate bar was good for a whole year. It didn't have a quick expiration date. So back in episode 8, when we were still so young, we interviewed...
I think, he was one of our first guests. We interviewed John at the van camp, so he has the Volkswagen bus that he takes around as photo booth, and I found out that he has added a little Beetle to the fleet. So we caught up with him at the Orlando Flea in November, and we got a little update interview with him, which we're going to insert here. And definitely go check that out. That's another experience you can have at a party, a wedding. You rent the little Beetle. You guys all cram in the back, take a photo.
And
we did get to get inside there and take our photo. And it was fun. It was
if you're
cute.
around at Orlando events, it seems like John's around a lot with either the...
They do the Tasty Tuesdays or...
with either the van or the Beetle booth.
Yeah.
And if you want to go check out their Instagram account, it's at the.Beetle booth, and you can go check out the Beetle.
It's a 69 Volkswagen Bug. It's really cute. Crimson colored red.
So take a listen to our interview with John.
It's okay. No, I don't mind at all.
So we're here with John from the Van Cam. We talked to him earlier in an earlier episode.
Mm-hmm. We did, indeed. And we're back.
So we're back here at the Orlando Flea. What's new here? We have another Van Cam baby almost.
Yeah, it's a 69 red Bug. It's the Van Cam Junior. And,
so cute.
It's making its full-fledged debut here today. We did a soft debut of it at Jazz Fest in College Park, but the full-on printing photo strip debut is today.
He looks like he's ready for Christmas too.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, he's always in the spirit. He's red.
That's cute.
But we did bring his attire this time to make everybody more holiday festive.
I love it.
So you're using an iPad, I see, to take pictures?
Yes, today we're using the iPad.
Cool.
We like the program on that. It's pretty clean and efficient. We toggle between that and a DSLR and a different printer, but today we're using that setup, and yeah, it works pretty good.
So you just get in the back seat of this Beetle, crunch back there with your friends.
Yes, that's
take
the
a
whole.
nice pic.
It's a totally different look, feel, and premise than the van. This is how many people can you fit in the car kind of thing.
Oh wow!
And normally we don't do I say normally, but normally we don't do more than 4 people in a shot in the van. So, and we've had more, but on average it's that. And this can fit 4 people inside, no problem. So, numbers-wise, it's pretty similar. You look at it and you think, man, that's how you're going to get people in there. Look, 4 people in there will fit, no problem. No, you don't have groups of 4 people typically, anyway with the van. So, yeah, if we get an XL group, that could be a problem.
Are you going to bring both of these out to events together, or it's going to be like a separate thing?
Usually
you
separate.
have other people helping you now?
If we have a booking where they want to, then we'll do that. But
cool.
I'm figuring it'll just be probably one or the other.
All right. Well, it's just nice to see what you guys are up to with the Van Cam.
Yeah, sure.
Here at Orlando Flea making its debut. So
Anything else coming up in the future for Van Cam?
Always. Every weekend till the end of the year, we got something going on.
I've been wanting to go to the Tasty Takeover?
Every Tuesday.
I always see your photos from that, and it looks like so much fun. So
I love going to that.
We're hoping to make it out there
Where's
one
the
weekend.
Tasty Takeover?
The Milk District?
The Milk District, yeah. Right behind all the shops, like Eatwell Boutique. And
I saw a picture of you with Joey Fatone.
Yeah.
Does he
that
come
was
there a lot?
That was 6 months ago. I guess he's got a hot dog company that he's trying to
that's right, he does.
boost
Fat
in
Ones.
Orlando, Fat Ones, and that was one of the things he was talking about while he was there that day. But I haven't seen him there since. That was about 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So hoping to see him again.
All right, John. Well, it was good talking with you again.
Anytime.
Thank you. So thank you guys so much for listening. So next episode 28, we're going to talk about a few things, including some dining, I guess really that I've been doing since since Stephanie's been down for the count. And then we also haven't talked about yet on the podcast that we now have a relationship with a garden theater in Winter Garden.
And we have a whole lineup of beautiful shows that we're going to be seeing and reporting back on.
So they have invited us to see the remainder of the 2018-2019 season. So we will be seeing the remainder of the season, as many shows as we can get to. Hopefully we'll be able to get to all of them. So next episode, we are going to be talking about their upcoming musical production of The Legend of Georgia McBride.
It's about drag queens.
It is.
I was reading the description because I literally was clueless. And when I was talking to my mom about it, I was like, we got to go see this show because my mom's coming to visit next week. And we're going to drop her off to go do all the stuff that we did when we went to see Christmas Story.
Right, because she saw it in our Instagram feed and now wants to
And
do
now
it.
she wants to go drink beer and eat mac and cheese. So she's going to do that while we go see the drag queens.
So we're really excited for this relationship with Garden Theater. They have been so kind to us, and make sure that you go and grab your tickets for The Legend of Georgia McBride. We are going to see it opening night, January the 18th. If you're there and see us, give us a shout out, say hello.
Hey, girl, hey.
But next episode...
And this runs till February 3rd.
Correct.
This show.
And so this next episode, episode 28, is going to be, or going to include kind of our review or rundown of the show and our thoughts about the show.
The show?
So thank you again so much for tuning in. We really appreciate all of your support. And make sure that you go and follow us on Instagram at Orlando Out of Context. Visit us at orlandooutofcontext.com and listen and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. And until next time, bye. Oh, we were so in unison there. And you didn't cough.
Yeah.
Yet.
Georgia.
You let it out, Ma.
Jesus